Because I was saying to let you sleep. If you were still sleeping, I told him to let you sleep because I want you to rest.
No. I got them.
Okay, I'm going to start recording now. Okay.
You are able to see my screen?
Yes, and I like how you did that. It looks really nice.
So, tablets, what we have seen till yesterday was what is requirement, how do we analyze requirements, right? What are the different types of requirements we have currently, right? What is functional requirements, what is business requirements, what are user requirements, what are non-functional requirements.
Right.
Then we have seen assumptions and constraints, right? This is now the slide which you are seeing is just a comparison between what is business requirement and functional requirement. How do we see a business, how do we see the same business requirement as a functional requirement, right? So what a business requirement is, business requirement basically say high level business needs, right? What functional requirement do? Functional requirement at the same time, how do we fulfill that business requirement through a system, right? So when I say high level business need, as if you remember yesterday when I said an example saying that a business company wants to track the employees, right, through a GPS, right? Now that is a high level business need. The company needs to track their employee, but the same business need, how I will convert into functional requirement, as in how I will implement that in order to achieve that business requirement. So when I'm doing the same thing in the functional requirement, if it's like the system must have the GPS installed in the system, it should find out the location of the employees in order to track them. So this is how the implementation, more from an implementation point of view, right? So if you see the second point, the business requirement answers the question what business wants to do, right? And similarly, the same thing when we see from a functional requirement, or we translate the same business requirement into the functional requirement, we try to answer how it should be done. Connected with a business problem or business opportunity, right? When we say business, it's more from their business problem or more from the business perspective. But at the same time, when the same functional requirement, when we write, we connect more with the system or with the software being developed, right? Broad and high level, specific and detail. When I say specific and detail, it's more from the system and from a user's perspective, right? Written from the point of view of the client, which is client is nothing but a business, and functional requirement are written from the point of view of the system, right?
Okay, I understand. I got to interrupt. Go to the third one. Oops, where'd it go?
Oh, sorry. I was
the third one up.
Third one, connected with the business problem.
The solution or being developed. So I kind of get. Oh, wait a second. Keeps going. Okay. Connect with the business problem or business opportunity. I understand what that is. The business has a problem. You got to connect with them and talk to them and say, okay, what is your problem? And then the requirements, when you say connected with the solution or the software being developed, what do you mean by connected? So you're just saying that once you talk to the stakeholders and they say this is our problem, then you need to talk with the software,
the IT developers,
yeah, and all those IT people and all those people.
Yes. So
that you're talking to them to say what would be a good solution.
Correct. When you are giving the solution, when I'm going for the business problem, you go to the business stakeholder, ask the problem, and state the requirement, right? When it is more mainly of the business system, business problem. At the same time, for that problem, when I'm going for when we come into the writing the functional requirement, what we will go to the IT stakeholder Connect with the solution isn't what is the solution to be developed or what is the solution that we can give it for the business problem with respect to the system or the solution that we are going to provide.
Okay.
So more from a solution point of view. So function requirements are more, let me show you this one. So if you can see here, my business problem and my business requirement is implement a web and the mobile-based employee tracking system that tracks field employees and increases the efficiency by means of monitoring employee activity and productivity, right? When I'm writing the functional requirement, if you see, I'm writing more from a system point of view, which I will meet, which should meet this business requirements, right? It's more connected. Have you, if you see, go through this function requirement, nowhere it is connected to the business. It's more from the system. What will system do? How will system track the employees, right? What are the various steps that my system should have the capability as well, right? If you see here, the system shall display the latitude and the longitude of the employee through the GPS. Yes, when you are tracking the employee through the GPS, you need some points, right? Points are tracking points where you.
You're just referring to an example of the GPS system, or does that mean something else?
Sorry.
When you're talking about GPS,
yes.
you're not talking, are you talking, does that mean something else, or am I talking about the GPS system like in a car?
You can, you are saying that the example that I am taking here?
Yes, wait a minute, the system shall display the longitude and latitude. Well, to me, that is a GPS system.
Yes.
Yeah, because longitude, okay, yeah.
Through GPS, we will show that through if you open the GPS, right, they show the points, right?
Yes.
So that system should be integrated. Here that we are trying to say the system should through GPS. That means the system is integrated with the GPS, wherein the system will show the latitude and longitude of the employee. That means where employees are there. Right? The system shall display the position of the employees on the Google map. Currently we use also Google Maps to show the positions of the employee. The system shall show the managers, allow the managers to send the notification to their subordinate field employees. So these are the various system function requirement, right, which we see with respect to the business requirement given, right? So if you see the function, it is more connected to the solution or the software which we are going to develop for the business requirement. But when you see the business requirement, it is more the business need or the business problem or the business opportunity that they are trying to look around for, right? Now, if you see the second example, build a responsive online classy fields listing website. So basically, a company is asking to make you a website wherein the user can search and browse the fields by this so and so fields, and can also view and rate other user profiles, right? And post classy fields for free as well as job. Basically, a company, if a company is trying to start up a website wherein they want some fields to be there and allowing the user to rate user profiles and post the jobs as well, right? So this is high level business requirements. But when you are writing a functional requirement for that business requirement, I can't go and give this requirement to an IT or a technology team just to develop that, right? So what we do, we will break this up into the functional requirements. So when I write the functional requirements, the first thing is the system shall allow the user to post a job, right? Then the system shall allow the user allow the rating of the user and scale, how much rating the user can give. That should be a capability of your system. The system shall allow the user to search classy fields by keyword, category, state, city, and charge. So more from a system and more from a system perspective where which we are writing the function requirement. So function requirement is more on how it is to be done. Business requirement is something that what business needs from us or what is that needs to be done.
Yeah.
You are clear with this?
I think so. And when you send me the thing and I go, the PowerPoint, and then I go over it, then it will be a lot clearer. Yeah, I think it's fairly clear. Yes.
Yeah, because this basically when you are going for a job, it is very important to understand the difference between functional and the business requirement, because you have to deal with this mostly with these two requirements: business requirement, functional requirements. So you have to go to the stakeholders to clarify the business requirement. You have to go to business stakeholders for business requirement. Whereas for a functional requirement, you need to reach out to your IT teams and write the function requirements, the implementation since it's from an implementation perspective, right? So that's a difference between basically the comparison between the business requirements and the function requirement. Now, how we specify requirements, right? How do we write a good requirements? As I see, everyone can write a requirements, right? But when you are writing a requirement, it should have some specific things or characteristics of the requirements. Your requirements should be testable. Your requirement should be atomic, the requirement that you are writing.
What does that mean?
Yeah, I will go through that.
Okay.
And your requirement should be necessary. Whatever the requirement you are taking, it should not be just as I told you, right? If it's 100, the business comes with 100 requirement, it is not absolutely necessary to. It is absolutely necessary. Not. It is absolutely. Not, whether it's absolute necessity to your project or not, and it should not be ambiguous, right? It should not have a double meaning. It should be clear requirements, right? Now let's see, what do you mean by testable, what do you mean by atomic, what do you mean by necessary, and what do you mean by ambiguous, and how are you going to write that, right? So
I'm a little confused because I thought if it's a necessity, that would equal a requirement. Because a requirement, I don't think, it's not like, okay, I'd like to have this. I thought a requirement was a must. And that's where I'm a little confused.
No, I didn't get you. Can I come 1 second?
Okay. I thought a requirement was a must. It's something that absolutely has to be executed.
Yes.
It's not like, for example, it's not like saying, I would like it to be in purple or something, that's not important. You know what I'm saying? But to say, I want this page to load within, 5 seconds or something, that might be a must.
Yes, yes. Again, yeah.
But I'm confused, so what did you just say about a requirement and something else?
There are some scenarios where you will get that, see, yes, when there are requirements where you will prioritize yourself, right? Okay, this is the requirements which is absolutely necessary or must, as in the example that you gave, right? When you are building a website, it should load within 5 seconds, that is must. Yes, that should be there. That's basically a non-functional requirement. There should be a login screen, but there might be something which business comes and when you analyze and say things that let's not take it in this release, or this is not, I don't think from my perspective that is absolutely necessary, right? For example, I have taken a website, right? Business comes and say, okay, there should be a login screen. Let's in the login screen give one banner. Okay, fine, one banner, one image. Let it very simple. No, I want an animation to be added there. I want this to be added there. I want that to be added there. Right?
Oh, I like that. Okay. That makes sense.
So what you will think, why do you want to add this many? think from a user perspective, because it's your job to make them understand that, okay, see, this is the user. Do you think that when we are going for, when it's not a website where kids will play, it's for example, it's for an end user who will come, let's make it very simple. Why do you want that things to be added, right? Why do you think when you're adding more animation, that means when it will take some time to load as well. The more things you add, it takes time to load as well, right? So let's get very simple. Why do you want that animation? Let's keep one banner instead of two. Let's see how this is. So I don't think you need animation. That way you have to cut down, right? So because from my perspective, I don't see the necessity of that adding in my website, right?
Okay, but I've got a question. Okay, sort of two questions. If they say they want something animated and it's going to take more time, as long as they're willing to pay for it, wouldn't IT that writes it, wouldn't they want that? Because it would be more money in their pocket ultimately. And it seems to me like you might talk to the stakeholder, and the stakeholder may have an agreement of what is necessary, but you may go to the IT person and they might say to you, well, I don't think that's a good idea. And then, and I'm trying to understand, or do they just sit there and kind of take orders wherever you say they do? Or do they come back to you and say, that's not really feasible, or that's not really a good idea?
Yeah, they do sometimes say if it's not feasible, right? There are various things which how they will not be feasible from technology standpoint, right? How they want to implement, and how when we go to the development team or the IT team, they might say, hey, this is not feasible the way business want, or the way we have to implement in our system, because there is a constraint, we cannot do with it this way. However, if they come and say to you that this is not possible in the this way, or from a technology standpoint it is a constraint for us, what you will do, we just don't take it. You say, what is the other workaround for that then? How do you think that we can go and meet this requirement? If that requirement is absolutely critical, we have to find a workaround for that, right? I understand that there is this way it is not possible. How do we implement in the other way, right? That's why we do a feasibility study, right? When we are going and working the requirements, when we write the functional requirement, that's why we sit with the dev team and write the functional requirements, work through them. If needed, they will do the feasibility study and get back to us, right? And when they do the feasibility study and get back to us, if that is not possible or we don't find any workaround, we go to the business and say, hey, with what these requirements are from the technology the technology stack that we are using, or our IT team, it's not becoming feasible for us to implement. You tell me what we need to do. Also, we have tried. If we have found a workaround, that's well and good. If not, why you are not able to do that? Go and justify to your business. They will then. You and business has to sit and see. Okay, this how critical that requirement is for their organization from your project standpoint. If not, how you and business might have to change the requirements. In that case.
Okay.
So that is how it happens. That's why it's better when we write the functional requirements with the IT team. When they see something new which they have not, or what they do, typically they do a round of, we call as POC, proof of concept, or we do a feasibility study. Do you do that? Is it possible? If not, how we can do that, right? Always you being a BA, if anybody come and say, hey David, this is not possible from a technology thing, we can't do it, right? Then you should every time ask, okay, I understand why. First you ask them to give the justification. If you are convinced, if they are good enough to convince you, okay, this is a really constraint, that's fine. If not, you always ask them for a workaround. Okay, I understand this is a problem. What is the workaround for that? In this way, it's not possible. Is there any other way that we can do that, right? Because I can't leave if somebody come and tell me, hey, this is not possible, technology point. Anybody and any time can give a technology constraint, right? But why I will take it every time, right? Ask for a workaround, ask them for another way of implementation, right? You can say, let's see let's do a feasibility study, let's see then how do you think we can meet this requirement, right? Sit with them, try to find a way, right? You got my point?
Yeah, I'm trying to just read over this and just make sure I'm getting it completely described. See, if I had this the day before you present it, I could look over it, and then I'd have a little bit better idea, because when you're reading it now, it takes a little bit of time, and I can't really say whether I understand or not until later on when I read it the second time.
Okay, okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying? If you sent it to me one day in advance, like if you sent me what you're going to teach tomorrow, if you sent to me that today, then I could read over it, and then when you present it, I have better questions to ask you.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yes, I will do that then. Today, after the class, I will send you the PPT as well.
Okay, because it'll give me a little bit of time. I could go on the internet and try to figure out what you mean, and it would be more concrete or more put in my brain to stay. Okay.
Yeah. So when we write a requirements, we make sure our requirements is testable, right? So when I say testable, I should not specify anything. For example, if I say when I'm writing a requirements, for example, the system must send an email to the customer. Okay. Now, what do you understand by if I say, hey David, my requirement is that the system should send an email to the customer. Do you think that you can make a sense out of it when I say the system should send an email to the customer?
I didn't understand your question. You're saying if one of the requirements is that an email should be sent to the customer, then I didn't understand what your question is.
Yeah, means when I say I have written a requirement, for example, the system must send an email to the customer. When I'm giving this requirement to you, do you think that you can find any, how do you relate this requirement to? It's not clear enough, right? How will I test it? When I say testable, my testing team should be able to test the requirement, right? Now, when I am written the requirement as in the system must send an email to the customer, I don't know, first of all, whether when the system should send an email, right? Why the system should send an email, right? We don't.
Oh, okay, I think I get it. Yeah, when you write just send an email, it's not being specific enough. It's not drilling down far enough and saying, like, for instance, if a customer makes a payment, an email should be sent, within 3 minutes of them making their payment or something like that.
Yes. So whenever we write this thing, so when you say the customer should be notified with the email when the customer makes a payment within 3 minutes, when it is testable, right? That means I can go and my testing team can test that requirement, as in, okay, they will make a payment, then they will see whether they are getting the email or not, right? So we should make sure that whatever the requirements we are writing should be testable. Atomic means it should address only one and only one thing. It should not have and or. We cannot club two requirements into one thing. One requirement should be addressing only one thing, as you said, right? When the customer makes a payment, an email should be sent to the customer within 3 minutes. And I am addressing one thing. What I am specifying on this requirement, that means my requirement is more to send an email to the customer when they made a payment. But at the same time, if I would have said the customer should be the system should send an email to the customer after the payment within 3 minutes and show the checkout what you say, the checkout card or confirmation screen wherein with the message that you have successfully made a payment, right? So if you see, when I say, that means I'm clubbing actually two requirements. One, user should be sent an email address. At the same time, I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm saying that once the payment is made, there should be a confirmation screen wherein the message should be displayed to the customer about the message, right? That means that actually I'm clubbing two requirements into one thing, which we should not do that, right? Break them into two requirements. First, the system must send an email to the customer after the payment. Second, once the payment is successfully done, show a confirmation message to the customer, right, with a message that the payment has been done successfully.
Right. Right. You've got to break it down, really drill down into very small pieces. Okay.
Correct. Which, so that we see that our each and every functionality is there, and it helps you, not only you, to all the stakeholders who is developing the solution as well as the person who is testing the solution. It's easy for them, and we make sure that no functionality is missing there as well, right? Now, as I said, necessary, whether the particular requirement is absolutely necessary or not. Document something that the customer really needs, right? We will see, again, I cannot, when I say, yes, we don't take something which is not necessary, but at the same time, if I'm cutting that feature or the requirements, I make sure that if I'm removing that requirement, it should not lead to any deficiency, right? For me, that only when we do when we go and do the requirement analysis, we should make sure that if we are removing any requirements which we feel that it does not really make sense to us, at the same time we should see that it should not impact or lead to any deficiency if we are removing that particular requirements, right?
What's a real life example of something that you've done? Could you type that into the add notes and type like just a couple keywords, like, so I'll remember, like, what's a real life example?
Yeah, let me think of the real life example. What I have done.
Sorry, but you know I'm going to ask you this every time. I don't know how other students are, but I would think it would help them. You know, I would think maybe it's easier for them, but to me I need real life examples.
Yes, that's true.
How are your other students? They don't care?
Oh, sorry.
Your other students, they don't need real examples?
Sometimes they do ask, but sometimes they don't.
Okay.
So that is the, let me see. Let me think of it. What is there? What example shall I give you?
Well, I mean, if you want to think about it, but before you send, just make a note, and before you send this to me tonight or today, before you go to work or something, just you know, put in something, and I don't know.
I will send.
What I'll do is when I get what I've done is when I get your PowerPoint here.
Yeah.
If I don't quite understand something, I try to look it up, and then I actually put it in the notes, and then I save it.
Oh, okay. I will then add and send it to you.
Okay. Okay, so the document, something that the customer really needs, leads to deficiency in the system if it's removed. But if it's, this is what I don't understand.
Yeah.
If you're making something a requirement, it would be necessary. So why would you ever remove it if it's important?
Yeah, that's what we have to make. See, for when I am removing something, as I said, right? When I say it's animation, why do you want an animation to be displayed, right? We can remove it, right? We can remove it because it takes a time to load, and why you want to make that simple website to be that animated website, right? For me, it might be something at first glance it's not absolutely not necessary, but when I drill down more into the requirements or something, uh, it might impact or it might lead to the deficiency in the system, as in it might be from a marketing standpoint, right? It might be from a function standpoint, or it might be from a business standpoint, wherein they will say no, animation we want to display. That is our marketing strategy. If you are removing it, if we have removed it, right, going forward, that is how we want to attract the user, and see when something comes up into your screen, we just see, okay, what is that? What's that ad coming up, right? So that's how we want to make sure that the user looks into it, right? We don't want that to be removed. But for me, as a business analyst, when I see from my system perspective, it is just adding a load to my load or so it might lead to some performance issues in the system, right? So if I'm removing it, it might be a deficiency from the business standpoint, saying that no, if you're removing it, it's from our marketing strategy, it might be a little bit difficult for us in order to attract the user, or what you say, mostly for the user perspective, right? So it should not lead to the deficiency if I'm removing the features, right? Because we are more concerned with the system, right? System and the business requirements. We don't know how they are going to promote the website, how they are going to make it online, or what are the things that they are going to do with this website, right?
Do you ever put take honey for your throat?
Yes, honey, and what do you say that? Warm water, right? That is
I usually put milk and honey.
what is that?
I drink warm milk and honey.
Warm milk, yeah, I do sometimes, but now I have not. I just had tea in the morning, so that's it.
And I was just asking. I was just curious.
No. Even we take honey. What we do, we boil water. So we give 7 spices. What we do, we boil it and then we drink it. It's really good for the sore throat. Actually, what we believe in our Indian cultures actually.
What are the 7 spices?
We give, so you know bay leaf?
Yes.
Yeah, so you give bay leaf. You know cardamom?
Yes.
So you do cardamom, bay leaf, ginger, grate with ginger, give it there. Then you know this, let me ping you. Cinnamon.
Yes, cinnamon, yeah. I've got cinnamon. Yeah.
Yeah, then I'm not sure whether you know this or not. I don't know what you call that in English. Basically, we call this cinnamon, cardamom.
L-A-H-I?
Yeah.
I'll go to the Indian store and find out.
So
No, I
that
have
thing.
a lot of Indian spices in my
Oh.
kitchen now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've had 3 Indian roommates.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and I found anyway. We could get back to the lesson, but yeah, I want to know because I'm trying new recipes. I have one Indian cookbook. My one Indian roommate gave it to me, and then I'd make the different recipes.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So then we used another leaf. This is again Indian name. We use this leaf and boil the water. Okay, once you are done, what we do, we put it into a cup and then we mix it with honey and then we drink it.
Oh, okay. That's
So
cool.
yeah, so it gives more relief to your sore throat basically when we have this kind of
Right.
issues with. So that's it. Moving next is unambiguous, right? So it does not, it should be well structured, right? It should not and or whether you, it is something it should not be ambiguous, right? When I am giving an example, it should be easily you should easily understand that particular requirement which I am specifying, right? And should be you should easily interpret the requirement that I am giving it to you, right? When I say if I give an example, I need a responsive website for us, for our business company or a business for our organization to be built up with, right? This is something it is something ambiguous. You are saying responsive website, but you didn't specify anything. How will I interpret what you are going to? What do you mean by responsive website, right?
This is good. I like this one. That's good. This slide is good.
So you should easily understand and specify. You should interpret the requirement that which you are you are getting from the business. At the same time, you are communicating it to your technology team, right? So it should not have a two meaning basically. It should be clear enough that and don't use basically try to avoid and or also with but, right?
Yes.
So what we will see now, we'll see some examples of how do you write the good business requirement. So this is how, not business requirement, it can be business as well as the system requirements. When you say, that's what I was giving an example, right? When I say first, if you see the first point, the system must send an email to the customer. Do you think that's a good requirement? No, right? Because I don't know what this requirement means actually. Why do we send an email? When do we send an email, right? Now, if I have stated the requirement in this order, the customer must be notified of their order after every submission within 1 day of placing order, right? Now, we need to make sure that I am sending email. Then this email you are giving, sorry, what happened? When I am giving this business requirement to your technology team, they might come up and say, hey, notifying order, we can do it in the SMS, we can do it via email as well, right? So there you are giving them an option to they can come up their own option as well. But what my end goal is from a business standpoint, I need my customer to be notified of the order, right, after every submission. And by when I need to do that? Within 1 day of placing the order. Here we have, so this is how you should specify your requirement rather than you just describe it in a single word where I cannot read on more to know about what I have to send an email, why I have to send an email, right, and when I have to send an email, right?
Yes.
So how we structure the requirements. So basically, your requirement should answer this 4 questions. Who wants the requirement? What results we are trying to achieve through the requirement? Basically, the outcome. What object is being addressed? When would they like this information? Right? So whenever you are writing a good requirement or whenever you are writing a requirement, basically from a business, if you are giving more of a business or a system, always make sure that your requirement should have this 4 things. I'm not saying you write everything like this, but this is how you write a good business requirements, right? Or business good system requirements. If you can answer this 4 questions, that means your requirements are complete enough, right? So they will know. For example, if you go up and see, when I am writing this requirement, you can find an answer of all who whom I have to notify, right?
Well,
When I say,
what was the
yeah.
5 W's, like the who, what, when, where, and how, and why? And and the 1 H for the how. What is that good for then if that's not for requirements, and what are the 5 W's used for?
5, I have given 4, and this 5 W means I didn't get that. Can you come again? 1 second.
Well, I was reading, and I put that in my homework about, it's who, what, when, where, why. There's supposed to be 5 W's and then 1 H for how, H-O-W. And I'm thinking,
from a system, when you come to how, it is more from a system function requirement, system requirement. But when this 4 you are trying to achieve, it's more for business requirements.
okay, yeah, because I know you have 2 what's on here.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
What is the result I am trying to achieve? What is the object that we are trying to be addressed here? And when it is like this information, it's more from a business perspective. When how comes into the picture, it is more from a system perspective. That means I have this requirement on the top of the how I am going to implement that, right?
Okay.
So always remember, when for business requirement, we always emphasize on what. For functional requirements, we always emphasize on how that to be implemented, right? So if you see this requirement, in this requirement, I have who, my actor, who should be notified, or whom we should add, right? When I say what result we are trying to achieve, we are trying to achieve what is the result, that we should be able to notify our customer, right? What is the describe the thing acted upon the user? What is the object we are trying to notify my customer? It might be email, it might be SMS, and when within 1 day of placing the order, right? So here I get an answer of who, what, and when.
Okay.
So if we will see this one. Now the replacement, if you see the first requirement, the replacement system shall be installed with no disruption to production. Now when I say not a good requirement, can you tell me why I have written this as not a good requirement?
Okay. The top, why it's not good. The replacement shall be installed with no distribution of production. I don't know. The replacement system shall be well, it probably has to have something more specific, like it shall be replaced within, I don't know, 3 minutes, or I don't know what, but I'm not really understanding what they're saying. The replacement system shall be installed within, what does it mean, no distribution?
No disruption.
Oh, disruption to production, sorry. Okay,
yeah.
So that would be like when they're replacing, like say if you're on the internet and you can't allow any downtime, you can't have where the website is not working. Is that what they're saying?
Yes. So think from a realistic example, means realistic point of view, right? When I am installing it, if I give a requirement like this, do you think I am more realistic to say that there is no disruption to production when I am doing a replacement system, right? For example, take us example in your office or any enterprise level, right? When I say enterprise, say for example any office. So your office say, hey, we need to change the monitors or the system that my employee is using today because it is not working properly, right? We have a deal as in after 1 month or so you change my system. So you go to the business and say, hey, I need to replace the system, how much time it will take? And if I come to you and say, hey, the replacement system I can install it, but there with no disruption to the production, which is not realistic. When I am doing some installation or replacement, there will be downtime, right? But when there will be downtime, what downtime will be there? that I have not mentioned here, right? So if I would have said the replacement system shall be installed causing no more than 2 days of production disruption. In that way, I am telling you, yes, there will be downtime, but at the same time, we'll ensure that it's not more than 2 days when I will be installing the new system into your workplace, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's how you should. Don't leave the user to assume something with your requirement. Here, when you are saying that no disruption, I being a user, I said, oh, nice, no disruption to the production. But when actually you are trying to implement that, when it will cause a production disruption, and I won't be able to work on that environment for a few days or so, you will think, oh my God, whom I have asked to replace it. It's not good. But initially they told me that there will be no disruption. Now how come we have a downtime, right? So better give a time frame. Tell your ETA as in within how many days you can do that, right? What will be downtime, so that they are also aware of it, right?
So is it like, for example, think back when you were a brand new business analyst. So would it be, you wouldn't know what's a normal amount of time for them to be down, correct? You wouldn't know a normal amount of disruption. Is that something that your IT engineer, whatever his title would be, he would say to you, it's going to be this much time, or would you ask him, say, how much time do you think is realistic for there to be downtime?
Yes,
but
I do ask.
Because you're new, say if you're new, how do you know what's normal?
Yeah, you have to ask them saying that, hey, we need this is my requirement, we need to replace the system. How much do you think it might be? If here in case of system, I can go to the engineer and say, hey, how much time it will take for that? He might say, there will be downtime of 1 day, but what I will do when I am going to the client and saying that, then I will take 1 day buffer in case, you don't know, right? In case it might extend for more than one day. So we'll say no more than 2 days, keeping 1 day and extra buffer time.
Okay. You add in the buffer day.
Yes, you can ask them, because I need to see, I don't want my client to say, hey, you promised me in 1 day, because he will come to me, right? Hey, you said that it will be done in 1 day, but why it is taking more than 1 day, right?
Do IT people tend to not be good at time management? Is that why you add the buffer?
No, see, basically for everything, whenever you are going for a project, right, whenever your project manager also schedules the things, if for everything we keep 1 or 2 day, or based on the requirement or the project, we keep everything for each and every phase a buffer time. Why do you keep that? Because you don't know where you might hang up in something. If suddenly your infrastructure goes down, you lose a time, right? So for everything we keep 1 week or 2 to 3 days buffer for each and every phase, starting from the planning till deployment.
All right.
Right? Just to be honest.
I've done projects. I've allowed some buffer time. Like if someone told me, okay, this is going to take a day and a half, then I would round up 2 days. I didn't like say, okay, 3 days. If they told me 1.5, I didn't say like 3 days. I'd only like round it up maybe a half a day for each thing. But I just didn't know if it, the IT people I've worked with, I think they were really good at telling me how long something would take.
Yes.
They knew kind of, but I just didn't know if, in general, if they weren't that good or what. I don't know.
Yeah, but they will tell you correctly what from their perspective. That, okay, we'll need this requirement to be developed, and we will develop this requirement in 2 days. So what we as a whatever project manager, if you are a project manager, so what you said, okay, you said 2 days, let me keep 1 day extra in case you can't finish it up in 2 days, right? You don't know, right? It might happen something. If somebody falls sick in that 2 days, what will happen? Who is going to back up, right? Because you have to plan everything, right? It's just that, okay, you 2 days means I will keep 2 days. What happens if something goes down, if network goes down, or if your work environment goes down somewhere, something happens and you can't finish it in 2 days, right? So I have 1 day extra time wherein you can finish it up, right?
Okay.
So that's why we keep every 1 day or 2 days of buffer time.
Okay.
So now here screen must appear on the monitor quickly. This is what a requirement is. Screen must appear on the monitor quickly. Here if you see here, now I am leaving this, it is little bit ambiguous, right? Means ambiguous in the sense, and also I am leaving this requirement to the user to assume, right? When I see the requirement, when it means that when it says that the screen must appear on the monitor quickly for me might be 1 second, quickly for you might be 2 seconds, quickly for other user might be 3 seconds, right? So you are leaving this requirement for the user to assume the quickly part. How will you, how quickly the screen should appear, right? So you should
have quantitative.
Yes, true, exactly. So if you see here, when the user access and screen, it must appear on the monitor within 2 seconds, right? Better give a time frame. Better don't leave it to the user expectation, right? Oh, quickly. That's how it differs, right? Quickly for me might be 1 second, quickly for you might be 2 seconds, quickly for other person might be 3 seconds, right? Better you give a time frame. Also, screen must appear. How will screen appear? Do the screen appear directly? No, right? When the user access any screen, right? So you give more emphasis on who is the actor, the user. It must appear. When it will appear? When they are accessing within the 2 minutes. What is the object? When they are trying to access any screen, right? So that is how you write a better requirements. Don't write a one-liner. Don't leave the requirements to be for the user expectation, right?
Right.
Try to be as much detail, because if you see this too, right? And also when you are giving this kind of requirement to that IT team, right, they will say, oh, quickly, the same thing, how we interpret, right? Don't leave the user to interpret the requirements. Be specific, be clear, be means clear enough to know what we are going to do and what the team needs to be developed. Now, when you are going to the IT team with this requirement, okay, then no. When the user is navigating between any screen, we should load the screen to be within 2 seconds, right?
Okay.
That's why we write the requirement in more detail and specific. Now, let's see some examples. Now, the first example, the system shall have a user-friendly interface to facilitate fast data entry. Do you see something wrong in this requirement?
The system shall have a user-friendly interface to facilitate fast data entry. Yeah, it's got to be more specific. So you have to say something like, let me see, user system shall be user-friendly, have a user-friendly interface, but you've got to describe that in detail. What is, can't be ambiguous, what exactly is a user-friendly interface?
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Yes.
And then fast, it's got to be specific.
Correct.
Right.
Fast means how fast, right? Within how much time you should have, right? When I say user-friendly also, I'm leaving it to the user expectation. Okay, user-friendly, what do you mean by user-friendly? Every screen might be user-friendly to you, but it might not be user-friendly to me, right?
Okay, so for example, if you're talking to the stakeholder and they said, yes, I want a user-friendly interface, and then what do you say to him? I mean, do you say, can you be more specific? Or, cause
Yes.
I think I read that BAs are not really supposed to give their, how'd they word it, but they're not supposed to really give their advice, or they're just supposed to give it exactly what, I forget how it was worded, but they were saying something like BAs shouldn't really basically give their suggestions or something.
No, we can always give them suggestion, we can always give them advice, right? As long as you are giving a correct answer, I don't see any problem, because I also in my work also when the business comes and say like this kind of question. I said, let's be more specific on the user friendly.
I like that. Let's be more specific. I love that term. Okay.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah, so I go and ask them. Right? I don't want to take something which they have interpreted. We will interpret something at the end of the day. They will come to us and say, hey, we didn't want this interpret, right? And it doesn't look good, right? So let them come up with the let us know what is their expectation. What does they mean when they say user friendly, right? So I will ask them, if they are saying, no, you come and tell me what kind of thing that we should have. So I must go and say, hey, I think it's better to keep a simple thing. We can have a login screen here. We can have username and the password screen here. Let's keep it pretty simple to the user. That's an opinion or my advice I can give them. If they are buying it, well and good. If not, they should provide me the wireframes or how it should look like. They should tell me, right? So,
okay, another question. Say if someone was typing in there, said, okay, type in your email, and then they down below retype it in because they want to make sure you didn't make a mistake. Well, I know a few, not many, but few websites, and I think it's actually very smart. They make it you can't copy and paste it. It has to be typed in twice, and that way they know it's going to be correct. But would you, as a business analyst, would you suggest that they add a feature like that, or is that something that the IT people should suggest?
You as a business, I as a business analyst also can give an opinion on that. As this is a feature, I think we have seen somewhere here. We can add this feature. What do you think? You can always put an opinion or an advice to your business stakeholder, right? Let's have it. Here we can have this. I think it will be more. If you want them to copy and paste, well, good. If not, we can add the feature. So you can always go and tell them. IT team, yes. When IT team, we will go to more from an implementation perspective. When they say they will come up with their opinion how to implement it, right? It's more from an implementation perspective. Okay, so Devi, that I think the feature that you are saying we cannot implement it. Let's implement in other way. So again, what you have to do, you have to, okay, fine, we can implement in that other way, let's implement that way. Let me go to the business and say, hey, this is what we are going to do like this, right? So that's how, and you can, yes, as a business analyst, we can always go and give an opinion to the business, or just you will keep your whatever you are thinking from your perspective, you can always go and put in front of the business. If they are agree, if they are buying your ideas, well and good. If not, let them come with their own requirements, right? The system shall not allow special characters or numbers in the user password.
Interesting. Usually they tell you now you have to put that stuff in.
Yes. It's kind of ambiguous, right? I don't know. I cannot interpret the what kind of password then
after submitting. Ooh. Okay, that's fine. Confirmation, yeah. Wow. So, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Now, when I say the system shall provide a confirmation message to the user within 1 second after submitting a change to their password.
Yeah, that's good because then you know it worked correctly. I'll give you an example. I have a brand. It's called Delta Faucets. It's a brand. Anyway, I went on their website and I did when I purchased the product, I went on their website to register it because if I took a piece of cardboard and I sent it through the regular mail, it might get lost. Well, when I went in to get my warranty, they didn't even have a record. They didn't even show. They lost all my information on the internet.
Oh,
so, yeah, so that's not good. And I just told them, I said, I'm not trying to be mean. I said, but that's really bad if you don't even have my name or anything. I said, you know, the whole reason why I did it on the internet is so it wouldn't get lost in the mail, and now you're telling me all my information is lost. But that's how as an IT analyst, I mean, how do you, what kind of requirements would you tell them so that something like this would never happen? What would you suggest so they couldn't lose things like this?
Yes, they see when we if that I think the site where you have registered, if basically in any of the system, right, if you are registering anything, if the customer, more from the customer point, if I am registering anything, I think I should keep the data, right? But yes, in IT what we do depends, right? After 1 year or 2 years, right, down the lane. So for example, if I have registered something today with all my information, there might be a requirement that let's keep the customer data from today till next 2 years. After that, we will purge the data or we will delete the data. So we keep on refreshing the database, right? Because at one point of time, I cannot put 1 million users data in my database, right? So there is some a way or the other wherein I should purge the data or I should delete the data from my backend. So let's keep that data for 2 years. So within 2 years, whenever the users are coming in the system, they will get, or if you have lost something, I can easily find the information. But after 2 years, let's delete the data, or we should have our strong infrastructure wherein we can put the customer's data there.
Well, yeah. Companies can't purge it. If you have a warranty that's a lifetime warranty, they have to keep your information.
Yes,
Why do they purge it? What is that? Most common that they purge it because they don't have enough space?
Yeah, if that is the case. But as you said, if it's a warranty, right, as you said, it is within the warranty, and if that is the lifetime warranty we are providing, I think that time we should keep the data, because the customer might come to my site, or it might come to me or my tech support team who will take the call, that we should store it. Right? Big companies usually will not do it. It will more, because from a more but infrastructure point of view, the small companies basically what they do, they don't want to put more effort, means more cost on the infrastructure, because to take the space, to keep all the data, sometimes it is expensive, right? So what they do, let's manage in these things. So what they will purge data. Otherwise, the big companies basically will keep your data. If you have a lifetime, they have to keep the data. There is no other options, no purge option. But if not, big companies usually will keep your data.
Well, what my question originally was, since they lost my information, what is it that IT was missing? What did they do wrong? What was the defect for them to lose a person's information like that?
Yes.
So if you were the business analyst and Delta hired you, Delta Faucets, what would you suggest to them so that something like this never happens?
See, first of all, I have to see what is it a requirement means? Is it been deleted somebody by chance from the database, right? Or is it something, it's a defect which has never caught in the testing time, right?
Okay, so they may not have tested it correctly. Okay.
Correct. Right. So I cannot directly go today and give my suggestions. I have to backtrack, right? Start from the requirements. But if they hire me today, if I go there, what I will do is let me show your requirements, right? This is a problem for me, and I have to give a solution, right? I have to find a solution. Since it is existing system, what I would do, I will first see all the requirements which is there. Now, if I see that in the requirement it is there, the customer data should be preserved, probably I will drill down more into that. Why then I will go to the design phase, I will go to developers and say, hey, this is one of the requirements which I can see. Tell me how you have implemented. Is it something that you are not preserving the data? If not, why? That means it is a miss from the developers. And if it's miss from the developer, that means the testing team has also not test properly. They have actually missed a requirement, right? Okay. So that's one way of doing. If it's a requirement miss, probably then I will go and say, let's preserve a the customer data, because what is the, for me the business case will be if the user come back and say, I have a warranty, why can't you show the user data? It's not every time that you will ask the user for the information, right? So let's have a requirement and develop it, right? Another way, if I say, okay, the design in the requirement is there, even that developers have developed it, the testers have tested it, we have all the, we will have all the records, right? Then how it got deleted, right? It then, is it something by mistake that they have deleted it from your database, right? So I have to drill down various factors before I give my suggestion to them, right?
Okay. Wow.
So that's, you do it.
That's a lot of research you have to do then.
Yes, yes, exactly. I cannot simply go and say, hey, let's preserve data, because I have to backtrack, right? And
So
see what.
At some point, will you teach me how I would do something like that, how I would do research to find that out? Or is that going to be at a different time down the road? Like within this training, would you show me how to do that, or how would I find out how to even do something like that?
See, I can see, this is the one of the scenario which I told you, right? See, for example, I cannot see, if I am saying that I have to drill down and see the requirements basically. So when you will start working, you will have more, you will see what are the different systems, you have the requirements, more of the documents and all, right? But here I cannot give all that infrastructure or all the things, how we do in the thing. Probably I can tell you how to do that. Probably I can give like this scenario and ask you, hey, Debbie, what you are going to do that. The same way when you asked me, right, this is how I'm going to do that, is what I'm we should be doing it. So that I can help you out with, and how you are going to search and do that. It's again basically to go through various requirements and all, which probably I cannot have the design document right now with me. I cannot have more of a testing records with me, right, which I can't share actually, basically, right? So that is a problem. Otherwise, I can tell you and say, hey, this is a scenario what you are going to do if in this scenario comes. So you know what you need to do. So down the line when you'll go and start doing the job, you know, right, if this kind of situation comes, where you have to backtrack, from where you have to start and stop.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Right?
Excuse me.
So these are the various requirements that, so how you write the requirement, how well you should specify the requirements based on how the more your requirement is specific, the solution that is going to be developed is really well, right? So be specific enough to, when you're writing the requirements, you should focus on 4 things basic, especially or more on a business requirement. The system requirements, obviously we will think from a system point of view, right? So what I will do, Debbie, I will send this tape to you now, so you can have a look into it, right? And tomorrow what we'll see this requirement like second, final thoughts, and what I will do, I will give you a scenario. You have to tell me or write the business requirement. At the same time, you will be writing the functional requirement as well.
Oh, good. I'm excited.
Right? So that you will know how to write a business requirement as well, how to write a system requirement as well. Right? Okay. I will give you a high level. What I will do, I will just tell you the business problem, right? You have to, from that business problem, you have to take the problem and you have to write a business requirement. At the same time, for that business requirement, how you are going to implement, you have to write that in the system requirement. Okay. Sometimes in the companies, JB, depending on your industry to industry, you will get the business requirement. Sometimes it might happen that you need to write only the functional requirements. Right? You already have your business requirements in place, wherein you have to translate those business requirements into system requirements. Sometimes it might happen that you just have the high-level business needs, wherein you have to write the business requirements. At the same time, you have to write the system requirements.
Would you give me like 3 or 4 examples tomorrow of different industries? Because you mentioned different industries.
Different industry depends on it company to company, but when you what I'm saying is sometimes it will again if it's a service-based company or it's a product-based company, again it depends on the team to team. So you want what you want the company, or you want to example of that business requirement or system requirement. Is that what you are saying?
Well, no, what I was trying to say is tomorrow when you give me the little quiz or the little, you know, you want me to do that, you're going to give me the business requirement, and you want me to write the functional requirements.
Okay, so, no, I will give you a business problem. You have to write business requirement, and you only have to write the functional requirement. So in that way.
Oh, okay. You'll give me the, and then I write the rest. Okay, I get it. But I didn't know if you give it in different industries.
Oh, different industry as in how they work in different industry. Which one you will get it?
Yeah, like for example, if you wanted me to write 3 business requirements, because you write 3 problems, would they be in different industries?
Okay, like that. Okay, sure.
I'm asking. Okay. Okay, well, whatever you give me, I'll be happy, and I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah, so that why I'm giving you that, so that you know how to write the business requirement, at the same time you know how to write the system requirements as well, right?
All right, sounds good.
Yeah, so I will send you the deck today, Devi, now, and we'll meet tomorrow again.
How do you say thank you in your language?
In my language, it's like dhanyavad.
Taneba?
Yeah, dhanyavad.
Okay.
It's in Hindi.
Did I say it right? Taneba?
Yeah, dhanyavad. Let me type it. Yeah.
All right, I'll try to. I want to learn a few words.
Oh, you want to learn a few words? Okay, I will teach you Hindi as well then.
Yes.
Okay.
Anurag, I'm not sure if he speaks Hindi or not. I would have to ask him. I'm not sure what language he speaks actually.
Who?
Okay, me, I speak Hindi as well, and I speak Bengali as well. In India, you have lot of language, right? It's not the only language. So,
How many languages does he speak?
Who?
Who?
You.
Me.
He is a man. There's only one man here.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Overall 10 languages I speak.
Oh my gosh! How did you? Wow! How did you learn so much?
I can understand Bengali. I can understand Bengali, her language. But I can't reply. I can reply in other language, but I cannot reply. But I can totally understand Bengali. I speak Hindi.
The Bengali is from the Philippines, right?
So Bengali, they are not from Philippines. It's in Philippines they say is Kabayan. Kabayan means is like you know, you can say let's
Tagali I think is their language.
Tagalog.
Okay.
Tagalog is a Philippine language.
How did you learn to speak 10 languages?
I speak even Arabic.
Oh my God.
I don't believe you.
Kifa like it means like how are you?
So you know basic.
Yeah, you can say I can speak fluently. I can speak fluently Hindi, Nepali, and some other language. Like I can also understand the Philippine language, Tagalog, and then Tagalog, and then Arabic, and then Spanish a little bit, and French, German little bit, Korean little bit, Chinese little bit.
So if I said "Quel est votre jouet," what does that mean in French?
What did you say?
Quel est votre jouet?
Kaladatuji?
Aujourd'hui.
I don't know what that mean. I
Just
speak
what's
very.
the date? What's the date? Like it's February the 5th. That's all. That's
I'm not
okay.
fluent. I'm not fluently. I don't speak basic like basic word like how are you? You know, like
Like they
like
call them the
usual.
polite words, right?
Yeah.
Like they say when you go to these different countries, you should know at least 100 polite words.
Right.
So,
Right.
all right.
Right.
Well, I'm
You
gonna
gonna
let y'all
learn
go.
BA or you gonna learn language? What are you planning for?
I think it's so awesome. I wish I was fluent. I took French and I could read it. I was really good at reading and I could write it, but they speak too fast. I have to. It's hard for me to learn the languages. I don't have that gift.
If
It
you
takes a
really
lot
want
more
to
work.
learn language, try to watch the movie, French movie.
Yeah, I've done that. My French teacher suggested that, and
It's
but I've forgotten a
amazing.
lot of French now.
It's awesome movies there in French, you know. I love watching French movies.
Yeah, it does sound pretty. And I had a roommate that she spoke Turkish, and she brought her 4-year-old daughter here because she wanted her daughter to learn English, and she
Mhm.
knew that the way if you immerse yourself, you're going to learn. But I asked her, well, while you're staying here, could you teach me some Turkish? And she said no. She said I only want my daughter to hear English. She says I don't want to speak any Turkish at all. I said
Mhm.
okay. But she says I invested a lot of money bringing my daughter here to learn English. So, but anyway, so I've
Mhm.
never.
In
What is it?
also, what is Shudipta, are you also planning for overseas in case in future?
Yeah, I might come to United States. My husband is there working there in California, so I might come.
Okay,
Oh,
okay, wow, that's really good.
Yeah.
so
What does DHANYABAD mean?
Thank you.
thank
That
you.
means thank you. Dhanyavad.
Oh, okay, cool.
Hmm.
Very cool.
Yeah,
All right,
dhanyavad.
I like that.
We say
So I'm gonna,
namaste. Try to learn namaste. You know, it's
Yeah,
yeah,
namaste means
namaste is
welcome.
greeting. Greeting.
Yeah,
can you type that in there, that word?
yeah, I will
Uh,
do that.
yeah.
See, so two of the expressions that you've used that I really like, that I would use for dealing with the stakeholders, is when you said, can we be more specific, or let's be more specific. It sounds so polite and professional. And then you said, from my perspective.
Yes.
See, I'm taking notes on things that you say like that I think, oh, that sounds really good. Just
Hey,
take
Devi.
yes.
I'll suggest you one movie to watch. Okay. That
Okay.
movie is very good and it's a love story. And you're gonna learn lots of things from there. It's a Hindi movie, one of the famous movie. Shahrukh Khan movie. I'm talking about Sudipta.
Okay,
Is
you
it,
are
is
Shan.
it, is it on Netflix?
Can you recommend the one, the romantic one, Sudipta, if you know?
I hardly watch movies.
Okay. Kuch Kuch Hota Hai. Try to watch that movie.
Well, you have to spell it because I don't know what you're saying.
Kuch Kuch Hota Hai means it's something something happening to me.
So would they have that on Netflix?
They have, I think so.
If
No.
not, I know there's people like my friend. He could go on websites in his country. He can get and watch all these movies for free, but in America we have to pay for it.
You can watch from YouTube. It's a free.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Try watching from YouTube. Kuch
Okay.
Hota Hai. Try that one. Kuch Kuch Hota Hai. Full Hindi movie version. You can find it there and you can watch it. Is the guy, the actors is one of he's my favorite one. It's a Shahrukh Khan. It's called Shahrukh Khan.
Okay.
A romantic.
All right. I'll try to find that, and then maybe Friday night. That's what I'll do.
Yeah, try to watch before you sleep tonight. You're gonna dream very good. Trust me.
Oh, I don't have. I gotta get now. I gotta focus on the homework.
Focus tomorrow.
I don't know. We'll see. Maybe when the plumber is making a lot of noise and I can't study, maybe that's the best time for me to watch it tomorrow.
Right, right. Go alone in the private room and then watch that movie. Wow, if it
Yeah, because he'll be
it's
making a lot of
is the
noise, and I'm
is
sure
those
I probably can't
those
focus on.
are those plumber are from India or they are from here only?
No, he's American.
Okay, okay. After watching that movie, try to talk with this Anurag and in Hindi. He will be surprised.
Or yeah, because when I go over to his house tomorrow, I want to make sure he helps me study because he might want me to watch this movie.
That's cool. That's cool. Sounds good.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
All right, we are done now.
Yeah.
Oh.
I should have stopped recording a while ago.
Oh.
Okay.